As I mentioned last week, most of the Captain Marvels, and there have been a lot, have had numerous aliases themselves, and Carol Danvers is no exception. Aside from Captain Marvel, she's probably best known as the former Miss Marvel. But today, we're looking at one of her lesser-known identities, Binary. There was a time way back when that Carol was pretty good pals with the X-Men, except Rogue, but that's another story. And because the X-Men tend to get involved with space stuff way more often than you might expect, they were hanging out with the Shi'ar, bird people aliens in one of the most prominent, least dickish empires in Marvel space. And then a coup happened, led by evil Empress Deathbird and a bunch of alien parasites called the Brood, that resulted in the X-Men and Carol being held captive. The Brood realized that Carol had insane power potential, and through a series of science experiments they'd later come to regret, they unlocked a whole new level of power for her. Having merged with the White Hole, Carol could now tap into unlimited cosmic power in the form of heat, light, and radiation, and renamed herself Binary, which is presumably either a science reference I don't understand, or a science reference someone else thought they understood. Parting ways with the X-Men shortly thereafter, Rogue-related, Binary went on to work with the Starjammers, space pirates led by Cyclops' dad, and then the Shi'ar themselves, who had gotten into a war with the Kree. Unfortunately, it turns out the Shi'ar had been using Earth's sun as a Stargate, and running it ragged in the process, so Binary defected and used her cosmic powers to bring the sun back to full glory. Although this triggered an internal reaction that would start the depletion of her massively scaled-up cosmic powers. Ultimately, Jean Grey ended up severing Carol's connection to the White Hole that gave her her binary powers, bringing her down to still very powerful, but not unlimited cosmic powerful, and she rebranded to Warbird instead. A second binary appeared recently, this one a duplicate of Carol. Oh, there's the science reference. Created from her photon blasts and given sentience through a number of factors. But this new binary only lasted a couple of years out of universe before being killed by the Brood. This is the part where I talk about the Marvels again in 3, 2, 1. The MCU introduced its own version of Binary in the mid-credit scene of the Marvels. But this Binary isn't Carol or a duplicate of her. Instead, she's a variant of Maria Rambeau, Monica's mom, who's never been a superhero in the comics but has an impressive MCU record of being some form of Captain Marvel in 2 out of 3 universes we've seen her in. Binary got an additional nod in the form of Carol using her powers to reignite the Kree's dying sun, although there's no indication as of yet that she's lost any of her powers as a result. You know what, thinking of power loss, next week I think I'm going to get into that whole Rogue Captain Marvel feud. X-Men in the title and all that, gotta game the algorithm.